Military officers of the Central African nation Gabon unseated President Ali Bongo Ondimba just after the results of the country's general elections were announced. Following the coup, residents in the country's capital were seen celebrating and embracing soldiers on the street. Welcome to Telangana Today. In the video, let's explore the motivations behind this coup and understand the political landscape of Gabon. The ousted president is under house arrest. All the borders have been closed and the government ostensibly shut down. His son, Noureddin Bongo Valentin, was arrested alongside 6 others. Ali Bongo has faced accusations of election fraud and corruption since he began ruling the poverty-stricken nation nearly 14 years ago. He succeeded his father Omar Bongo in 2009, who had held office for almost 42 years. Omar Bongo had assumed power in 1967, just 7 years after Gabon's independence from France. Each of Ali Bongo's 3 election victories has been deeply disputed, sometimes sparking violent nationwide protests. The military described the August 26th elections as having not met the conditions for a transparent ballot. The army officers have named General Brice Oligui Nguema, former head of the Presidential Guard, as the country's transitional leader. Meanwhile, a video aired by a news agency shows Bongo seated in what looks like a library, saying he was at the residence and didn't know what was happening. Interestingly, the coup in Gabon comes a month after the military in West African nation Niger took over power and detained democratically elected Mohamed Bazoum. The military is imposing a curfew from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and borders will remain closed until further notice. However, orders have been passed to restore signals for international radio and television channels. Hundreds of the people took to the streets of Gabonese capital Libreville on August 30th to celebrate the announcement of military coup, similar to the kind of public reception from the military takeover in Niger received a month ago. It is to be noted that Africa now has the longest corridor of military rule on earth. The continent now has a total of over 7 countries under military rule. This situation has occurred in all these countries within the last 2 years. In addition to Gabon and Niger, the countries of Guinea, Burkina Faso, Mali, Chad, and Sudan are now controlled by juntas or military groups that came to power through coups. Gabon's coup stands out due to low jihadist violence, unlike its counterparts in the Sahel region of Africa. Slightly smaller in area than the Indian state of Maharashtra, over 2 million people live in Gabon, in the former French colony, which is located on the Atlantic Ocean and borders Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, and the Republic of Congo. The country is a member of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. It produces 181,000 barrels of crude a day, making it the 8th largest producer of oil in sub-Saharan Africa. However, the coup has been widely criticized by other African nations and in the West. The US State Department urged Gabon's military to preserve civilian rule and urged those responsible to release and ensure the safety of members of government. The UK condemned the unconstitutional military takeover of power. Meanwhile, questions regarding Gabon's parliament, government institutions, leadership fate, Bongo's family, international stance, and diplomatic ties post-coup remain amidst global criticism of the military's action.